everybody, my name is Eric Wood and welcome to Aric Talks, a show where I talk about things that are important to me, and we're going to talk about Hillary Clinton, and more specifically, the Democratic National Committee's email scandals in general. Mostly email scandals. Because, you know, that's all that Hillary Clinton is, one big email scandal. Hillary Clinton said some stupid things, first of all being that she disagrees that the emails she sent from her personal server were classified. I'm not an expert on national security policy, but I don't think classified is a subjective term. I don't think you can feel like something's classified versus not classified. Anyway, As many of you probably know, Russia hacked the Democratic National Committee's emails and published all sorts of madness on WikiLeaks, premier classified document Wikipedia founded by Benedict Cumberbatch. And they all seem to paint the same narrative. The Democratic National Committee wanted Hillary Clinton to win. What? The National Democratic establishment wanted Hillary Clinton to win? We had no idea that was true. These emails aren't necessarily surprising in terms of the narrative that they promote. The thing that makes this interesting is that instead of being just rumors floating around, we have actual documented proof that there was bias against Bernie Sanders. While this is all very interesting, it isn't anything surprising. We knew that the Democratic establishment wanted the Democratic establishment candidate to win. However, it is documented proof that serves as a very, very bad PR thing. And not only that, but Russia released these documents strategically smack dab in the center of the Democratic National Convention, meaning that in the middle of the convention, the Democratic National Committee chair had to resign. During the convention, the timing could not be worse for Hillary Clinton and her supporters. Fortunately for the Hillary campaign, this doesn't really seem to be affecting her very much. Well, let me take that back. Fortunately for the Hillary campaign, even though this scandal has cost her a lot, she's still better than Trump and is leading in most key swing states. All of those states are either battleground states or pretty deep red states. So it's pretty darn impressive that she has such a lead there, and so it seems like this email scandal isn't really going to be affecting her as much as her opponents might hope. Mostly because Donald Trump doesn't have his crap together. Oh, Donald, where can I start with you? Maybe I should talk about the fact that you think Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama were founding members of ISIS. Maybe I should talk about the fact that when you elaborate your trade deals, they're even more scary. And maybe I should talk about so many things, but no. Today, I'm going to talk about two things: Paul Ryan and Robert H. Turtle. Paul Ryan, as many of you probably know, is the Speaker of the United States House of Representatives, and potentially the last sane Republican left on the planet. His tenure as Speaker has been marked by moderation, cool-headedness, and just general rational decision-making. He is the anti-Trump. He is everything that Trump is not. The reason that Donald Trump and Paul Ryan's relationship is so important is because tension between Paul Ryan and Donald Trump have been an allegory for the tension between the populists in the Republican Party and the establishment of the Republican Party. Now, Paul Ryan had a primary contest this year, and he crushed his opponent horribly. Donald Trump refused to endorse Paul Ryan, something that is so incredibly strategically stupid. Well, that's not surprising because everything Donald Trump does is strategically stupid, but it still just makes me sad. Now, a few days later, Donald Trump did end up endorsing Paul Ryan, and I have no love for Donald Trump, but it's like watching a really, really poorly played game of chess. It's just painful. Better yet, let's talk about Robert H. Tuttle. Robert H. Tuttle was a senior advisor for the Reagan administration and the Bush administration. So this is a hardcore Republican. I have never voted for a Democrat, but I will vote for Secretary Clinton. Cats and dogs working together, mass hysteria. This is an old dude. He has been through a lot of elections, and he has never once voted for a Democrat in anything. Presidential election, Senate races, representative races, city council, frickin' local dog catcher. He has never voted Democrat, but he is willing to change that stance because of how much he hates Donald Trump. In some slightly better news, I can tell you that Gary Johnson, the third-party Libertarian nominee, has recently been polling at 15%, specifically in Colorado. Now, this is not too much of a big deal, but it shows that his popularity has been steadily climbing as time goes on, and has renewed interest in the fact that he might get that precious 15% necessary to get on the debate stage during the presidential debates. As a former member of a high school debate team, I am not looking forward to more Trump grandstanding and Hillary Clinton straw man arguments. Hopefully, if this guy can get 15%, we might actually have some interesting presidential debates this year, not just glorified yelling contests between two old white people who are boring and loud. I'm sorry, am I letting my internal bias show? I'm sorry. Well, let's just go right along and cheer ourselves up by talking about the Rio Olympics. Yay! Rio is still going through so many problems, and it's kind of sad because the event planners who are in charge of the Olympics are really doing the best they can. However, that doesn't change the fact that people have been shot, a random gun in a military installation went off, and a bullet just fell into the press booth of the equestrian competition, and just so many other random little things that culminate to making it just be a really poor sporting event. And yet, there is still reason for celebration. Take, for example, the absolutely incredible Olympic refugee team. 10 individuals who are removed from their country for political and economic reasons, who just love the spirit of competition, who have fought and clawed so that they can participate in the Olympics, even though they are currently without a home country. Each one of them having a beautiful story, and each one of them pushing the limits of human physical perfection, just like the Olympics are meant to be. More than that, a non-profit organization called Refugee Nation has given them their own flag and national anthem. So when the Olympic refugee team walked during the opening ceremony of the Olympic Games, they walked with the Olympic flag and had the Olympic anthem playing behind them. Now, Refugee Nation has tried to give all refugees in all the world a national anthem and a flag that they can rally behind, and more specifically, that the refugee team at the Olympics can rally behind. And in the midst of horribleness at these games, there is still reason to be enthusiastic and excited about just people trying to achieve peak human performance. Even though I have been hard on the Rio Olympics, it's still the Olympics. If you want to, I left a link in the description for the national anthem of the refugees, plus an interview with the guy who actually wrote that music. It's a really cool video. I recommend you check it out. All right, now it is time to think deep. So today for the Think Deep segment, I am going to be talking about the musical Hamilton. Now, if you don't care about musical theater, hip-hop, American history, or good storytelling, don't worry, just stick with me. I promise I'm gonna bring it full circle and make it relevant to what's happening in the world today. One of the commenters on one of my recent videos asked me the question, opinions on Hamilton. Also, their name is Boop Claw, and that is adorable. I can't help but feel like they're cousin to Moon Moon. I am now going to answer it. I think Hamilton is amazing. However, when asking the question, what is Hamilton about, I usually come up with a very different answer than most people. Most people will tell you that Hamilton is the story of the rise and fall of the early American politician and founding father, Alexander Hamilton. I, on the other hand, believe that this is a play about death. Specifically, a way to compare and contrast different reactions to death, using the individuals Aaron Burr and Alexander Hamilton. Both Hamilton and Burr are individuals terrified by the idea of death. One of the great lines from this musical is, I imagine death so much it feels more like a memory. When's it gonna get me? It's understandable why Hamilton and Burr are both terrified of the idea of death. And it's understandable why. Both of these men have understood death in painful and intimate ways and understand that death is coming directly for them. So while Hamilton is saying, I imagine death so much it feels more like a memory, is this where it gets me? Aaron Burr says, and if there's a reason I'm still alive when everyone who loves me has died, I'm willing to wait for it. So you have these two men, both equally afraid of the concept of death, but what makes them different is how they respond to that realization that they are hurtling towards death. Hamilton says, see, I never thought I'd live past 20. Where I come from, some get half as many. Ask anybody why we're living fast and we laugh, reach for a flask. We have to make this moment last. Aaron Burr says, wait for it. People throughout the entire musical ask Alexander Hamilton, why do you write like you're running out of time? And the only time he gives an answer to that question, he responds by saying, I'm running out of time. I'm running and my time is up. Wise up. Hamilton is hurtling towards death so quickly, and he says the only appropriate response is to do as much as you can right now. We have to make this moment last. Aaron Burr, on the other hand, his response towards death is wait for it. While Hamilton has his fear of death compel him towards action, Aaron Burr has his feelings of death and destruction paralyze him. If I wait a little bit longer, I'll be safe and I'll be fine. Hell, he is motivated by another fear. I want to be in the room where it happens. Suddenly, Aaron Burr is no longer afraid of dying. He is afraid of dying a loser. For everything that is beautiful about this musical, about America, about politics, about good government, about the meaning of love, the most pervasive theme throughout the story arc is the concept of death and how we respond to death. Because no matter how you slice it, no matter how long you live, you will be dead infinitely longer than you will be alive. But there's one line in this musical that I find particularly encouraging. America, you great unfinished symphony. Hamilton is a story about how people respond to the fact that death is coming towards them. And how we respond to the fact that death is coming to us is called life. And at least according to Alexander Hamilton, the most noble thing a living person can do while they are on this earth is to try and make the world better. And please remember that America is an unfinished symphony. Just because it feels like the world is burning around you doesn't mean that these are the final notes of this beautiful song that America is. So if you get the chance to, follow the link in the description and listen to the Hamilton soundtrack. How can we today learn from the behavior of a man who has been fictionalized and dead for many, many years? We are all collectively a part of the American experiment. Or if you don't live in America, you are a part of the grand experiment that is your own country. And what happens tomorrow is dependent on what we do now. I know it's hard when somebody on a YouTube channel does a call for action but doesn't tell you exactly what to do. Well, what you do is up to you. Advocate. Go to picket fences, become a lobbyist for something you care about, run for office, or even just be an informed voter. What you do now in your relatively short life of 75 to 100 years will affect eternity. No pressure. So, all of that to say, you are a beautiful human being. Try to change the world today. And as always, sincerely yours, Aric Wood. Raise a glass to freedom. I see you've made it to the end of the video. As always, click on the adorable tiny tree to subscribe, or click on the channel globe to go watch more of my videos. Well, enjoy the time. Who am I kidding? There's nothing in this cup.